Shalom, friends. So we're now in Mishpatim, which is that section of the book of Exodus that contains more rules, more guidelines for how to live our lives than any other section in the Bible. And one of the rules I want to focus on has to do with what does it mean to make what religious people might call the beloved community, a community that is just and righteous and inclusive. And the challenge is, you want to be able to follow the will of the majority. People should have a say in their own governance and in the direction that their own culture moves. On the other hand, majorities often can be oppressive to minorities. They can be insensitive to the legitimate needs and aspirations of people who aren't part of the dominant society. So how do you balance those two? And the Torah takes a very strong stand, and I want to read it to you because I think it's so important for us today as well. Lo ti'eh acharei rabim lera'ot, ve'lo ta'aneh al rov lintot acharei rabim lahatot. You shall not follow a multitude to do evil, nor shall you speak in a cause to incline the multitude to pervert justice. You see, it's simply not true that whatever the majority wants ought to be what the government should follow. There ought to be criteria for justice and decency that are binding no matter who's in power and who's not, so that we make our evaluations not based on whether it's our guy or their guy, our woman or their woman. The leader should be judged by the same standards whether we identify with them or we oppose them. And if we do that, if we elevate the rule of law, if we elevate standards of justice and decency and fairness, well, then we have the yardstick to determine whether we're advancing or not. And one of those has to be making room for the minority because of those standards. Majorities don't get to be despots. They don't get to override the legitimate, distinctive needs of the minorities in their mix. When we make a beloved community, there has to be room for you and for me. Shalom.